Here we are in 1960, the making of the president, and we're in the debate stage. There's a special turn that takes place to resolve the debates. Now I've moved, in the order they were, the three issues into location on the debate track. What's going to happen is each player, well, first of all, Kennedy won the initiative on this, which means if there are any ties, he gets to win them. But now what's going to happen is that each player secretly plays a card out of their campaign strategy. Face down. They're revealed. And that continues with pairs until one side of an issue ends up having two cards on it. Once that happens, points are scored. And basically each issue becomes more important the later in the debate. So, for example, even though economy is the #1 ranked issue going into the debate, if that's resolved early, it generates only 2 state support cubes, and later on we see the later issues get more, and it ends up as a low value issue in the track. They're put up on the track in the reverse order. I'll get to what happens when the cards are played out and some of the issues aren't resolved, if and when that happens. Okay, so the 2 cards are face down. Now, they're flipped up simultaneously. And Nixon played the Lyndon Johnson card. This is going to go for civil rights in favor of the Democrats, and the Democrats actually played at the same time a civil rights card, which they'll also play in their own favor. So they've just won this issue. They're going to get 2 chips to use as state support, which I'll immediately place, and then I believe the issue goes forward into the #3 spot. Second flip up. Actually, both players picked a military this time, but they're going to vote them on their own sides because they can do that. So right now, Nixon's in the lead on the military side. With only 1 issue left, we flip up again. And both players played into that issue. The issue is over because there's 2 cards on one side. 6 points for Nixon, 4 for Kennedy. The economy is Nixon's win. He's going to get 4 cubes for that. There were no debate events. Those could have modified things as we went. And now the debate's over. There were some extra cards. Both players feel like they kind of made a mistake. If Kennedy had played an economy card rather than grabbing the military, he could have won perhaps both events. But if Nixon had played the civil rights card in his own favor, and that was clearly a mistake, first, then he could have dragged things out a little longer. But as it is, he's going to get 4 cubes. And the economy goes over here, and I'm probably jerking around too much because I'm not really watching the camera. One of the things I've learned is to move slowly and watch the camera and take my vision through there, and well, I wasn't doing it there. Alright, so let's go to what Kennedy did with his points. He played into New York State and grabbed that. And now I'm going to assign the Nixon points and probably doing the same kind of thing, grabbing high stakes states. So I've entered the 7th turn now, and Kennedy won the initiative. He's handing and forcing Nixon to take the first move. The only difference now, this is sort of the home stretch. There's 2 more turns. We got an additional card each, and during the campaign and strategy rest phase, instead of putting 1 card into the campaign strategy, you put 2 in. Those cards are going to have states listed on them. We can take a look at what's on the card. They have a state listed on them, which indicates a state where you've got a chance to generate some more support during the election day returns. And it's kind of a neat little nail biter there. It looks like you understand where everything is and where everything falls. But there are a lot of states, and some big ones, well, almost all the big ones, where one of those cards could easily be the difference between a win and a loss. So the way they work is they're going to generate 3 draws from here per state card that you have. So let's say it's New York State. It looks pretty firmly in Nixon's camp, but there's a moderate chance that 2 draws could swing it over, and it wouldn't be blue still because of the Nixon endorsement there. So you got to take a lot of things into consideration. Can you get rid of that endorsement? You know, well, there's no way to do that directly. So this would require 3 successes. So you've got to weaken his power in New York to get anywhere there. Certainly, though, the Midwest, Nixon could win any of those easily, especially with his endorsement there. All right, so that's kind of a feel for where we are. And Nixon opens things up with the Baptist Minister's card, which removes 5 unrest from Kennedy in the South and Midwest. You can see he took Texas out of their hands and also made a huge dent in those Midwestern states. Kennedy played a whistle-stop tour, gives him 7 command points, or campaign points, and that gave him enough to run. He's got to spend them 1 per state maximum to run the gamut again in the Midwest, and then go over and start cutting into Nixon's lead in the Northeast. Alright, so we're most of the way through turn 7, and I saw a lot of maneuvering around the Northeast. Nixon's trying to regain his support. He had a lot of it taken away through, you know, this was the last event that hit it. But he played a big 4 CP card. Kennedy trumped it. Well, I mean, he gets his CPs, but Kennedy trumped it in order to take advantage of the issue, which is 3 supporting civil rights and moving the issue up because Martin Luther King was arrested. Guess we go on to the Kennedy turn. He's positioned himself in Texas, but he really wants to get back up into the Northeast. So, moving into the momentum phase, Kennedy did some positioning on the issues right at the end. Gets him there. We see Nixon solidifying his hold in the Northeast. It's kind of odd that we're seeing both the South and the Midwest being left Democratic with no contest. I'm expecting Nixon to make a move into at least one of them. On the other hand, defending those big Northeast states, well, he's set up 2 that he's carrying. If he can get New Jersey to carry, that he can go on the offensive and make things a lot harder on Kennedy. All right, so in the momentum phase, what do we do? First thing is momentum degrades. Nixon got no chance to play his chips. Now he only has to discard 1, which is cool. And Kennedy is up a chip already. So that degraded. Now Kennedy's going to take... It's late in the game. I think he's going to take 2 endorsements. He's going to take an endorsement as his bonus card. So he'll get 2 momentum chips only. Granted, momentum chips are valuable. There's no question of that. But I think the endorsements are becoming more worthwhile at this point in the game. He gets an endorsement in the West, which gets rid of Nixon's endorsement there. And an endorsement in the Midwest, which gets rid of Nixon's endorsement there. And that helps even the score, I think, a little bit for him. So now where are we? These degrade. Nixon has the most media control, so he's going to swap civil rights down in the order, just to reduce Kennedy's advantage there. And then we go to the campaign strategy and rest, and remember we're each holding 2 cards now, and these don't much matter. I mean, there's not. Basically, these were choices of cards in the case of the Nixon camp, cards that I didn't want played. Now, the Nixon's pledge, I looked at Illinois as a valuable state, and that actually heavily influenced holding that card. On the Kennedy side, these are crappy cards. I mean, Iowa, Alaska, but there's no way I wanted these suckers played. The other option was a New York State card, which New York is necessary for Kennedy, and he probably isn't going to be able to take it alone. But he had to play this to get all the counters off of this thing. So instead of playing the New York card into his campaign pile, he wanted to hold off. All right. Wow. Went through a lot of time here. All right, I'm going to zip this one up as well and load it. I did a lot of chatting, I guess, but hopefully some of it is of interest to someone.